Before we get to the data, we would like to highlight some important global events that we feel are not being given enough attention by the mainstream media. The consequences of these events could have a major impact on the U.S. economy, and that's why we feel it's important to share with you. Before we begin, remember to like this video and subscribe for more economic updates. Russia has formally declared the U.S. an enemy, and Russia is going to be sending a naval detachment to Cuba this week for military exercises. Where this heads, we don't know. Another developing story that might have even greater impact on the economy is the fact that the Petro Dollar agreement between Saudi Arabia and the United States expired on June 9, 2024. Saudi Arabia will no longer be obligated to sell oil exclusively in U.S. dollars. Saudi Arabia is deepening its economic ties with China. What this means for the dollar standing as the world's reserve currency is yet to be known. Let's shift our attention now to some of the important economic data we'll be looking at this week. First up is the Consumer Price Index. The consensus estimate says headline or all items CPI increased at an annual pace of 3.4%, which would match the April rate. And core CPI, which excludes food and energy prices, is projected to rise 3.5%, 1/10 of a percentage point slower than April's rate. The following day, Thursday, the Labor Department will return to bring us up to speed on price pressures at the wholesale level when it releases the Producer Price Index for May. Economists expect to see that headline PPI accelerated last month, projecting an inflation rate of 2.5%, which would be 0.3 of a point faster than the rate for April. Core PPI also is forecast to have sped up to 2.5% in May from 2.4% the month before. On Wednesday, the central bank's Federal Open Market Committee will emerge from its two-day meeting with a decision on what's next for monetary policy. As they've done at the previous 6 gatherings, policymakers are widely expected to leave interest rates unchanged and at the target range of 5.25% to 5.5%. Currently, traders are pricing in just 1 or 2 interest rate reductions this year. Also this week, it will be time again for the National Federation of Independent Business to release its latest Small Business Optimism Index, a barometer of economic confidence and sentiment among the nation's small business owners. Economists aren't expecting to see any change in the metric, projecting it will land at 89.7 for the second month in a row. That's significantly below the index's historical average of 98.01 and around its lowest level in more than a decade. Finally, on Friday, University of Michigan will issue the preliminary reading of its Consumer Sentiment Index for June. Economists expect the index will come in at 73, which would be about 4 points higher than the final reading for May. Last month's number tumbled 8 points from April, largely on worsening consumer expectations for inflation in the year ahead. Respondents in May said they were looking for annual inflation to be at 3.3% a year later, the highest level recorded by the Michigan survey in 6 months. That's it for now. It's important to keep up with the impact of these events, so check back on Saturday when we'll update you. This is Devlin Steele for Augusta Precious Metals, signing out.